Nice to see you all. Nice to see you all. Thank you for showing up. Come in, pile in, share it with your friends, tell everybody. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like. We'll make this video go viral. Watchful Warrior, nice to see you. What's up, Joe Mama? Who mama? Your mama? No, not my mama. That's Joe Mama. And Linda DuBose. It's nice to see you, Linda. And Enlightened Jazz comes flying in under the radar. Meow. There you are, Jess. So great of you to join us tonight. And Mr. Robert Nazawa, nice to see you. My Hawaiian friend. Sorry, I got something playing in my ear while I'm trying to say hello. So we'll just give it a minute, you know, and then we'll. Did you guys see any interesting speeches in the last couple hours? I did. I want to talk about it. Hey, Mel Monty. Yes. Hello. We are coming to the crossroads, my friends. We are coming to the crossroads. We'll get into that for sure. We're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about other stuff too. So did you share this with all your friends? We have 10 in the room. Nice to see you all. Thank you for dealing with me. I don't even know what that means. Check out these cool little gifts I got. These were birthday presents. I like them. They're fantastic. All right, let me shut that off. Pardon me. Let's get into, oh my. Okay. Give me just a moment, please. Everybody be cool. I gotta do something. I think the last time I started speaking about that subject, I shouldn't have. It stopped my headphones from working. So I think I actually have to reboot them real quick, but I don't think I have to stop the stream to it. So we'll just give it a second. If not, I'll just, whatever. Improvise. Oh. Let's see. Check 1, 2. Oh, that's way better for me. Wow. Okay. Phenomenal. I have sound. I have tone. So did show of hands, did anybody watch the State of the Union tonight? Yes, Watchful Warrior. I am. I had a birthday last week or the week before. I don't remember. Yeah. Headless watched State of the Union. Joe Mama watched State of the Union. I know I did. Mr. Nazawa did. I'm going to get into the State of the Union address. I'll break it down a little bit, best I can from memory, but it's pretty incredible, honestly. Lots of really, really incredible, just incredible pieces of information. that were pushed forward that were just, it was just, oh, let me just cut to the chase. It was one of the greatest speeches I've honestly ever heard in my life. And given the arena of people where you had 50% that were pro-Trump, but the reality is that the other ones that aren't pro-Trump, I was embarrassed for them. We'll get into that. Let's see what chat's saying. We'll get into that. This was incredible, man. This was this will be a landmark State of the Union in President Trump's legacy. His third one. You know, something I was thinking about, interesting enough, I don't know if I'm right or if I'm wrong, but I think after I heard that he gave it tonight, it was his third one. So it led me to believe that actually a president only gives 3 State of the Unions per term. So out of the 8 years that Trump hopefully will serve, he'll do 6 State of the Unions. I don't know why I thought about that, but I did. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think I'm right. I think I'm correct. We are jarheads, and as a byproduct and a side prize, we're Aquarians. Ow! I love it, Watchful. I swear to God, I do. I love it. Are you doing your show anymore, Watchful? I haven't gotten any notifications, man. So I reached out. Red Pill last night was reaching out to me. He said, hey, let's, after the State of the Union, let's connect, let's touch base and try to do an interview. And I said, cool. And I've texted him a couple times tonight, and I haven't gotten anything back from him. So I planned on having a after party State of the Union wrap-up interview, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I guess you'll just have to hang out and do this with me. Yes. Just all of us. What did Jess say? Let me try, Jess. I'm not sure if I can or I can't, but let's go. Let's try. Man, I really hate the emojis on YouTube, by the way. They're just, it's like working with claymation or something. It's just horrendous. It's terrible. It's horrendous. It's not tremendous. It's terrible. Let's see. I just gave myself a weird face. Let me get rid of that. Where would you actually find the flag? That's what I want to know. I so rarely get to put it out there. Oh, well, I see. I can clearly, I can do an Islamic flag to celebrate my Islamic heritage, which I have a lot of in me. Yeah, I don't have any flags that are actually showing up. So you might be on something. I don't see the ability to post any flags. So that's at least how it is on my side. That's crazy, Linda. Why would it not allow us to post the American flag? First Amendment. It's the flag. I mean, come on, for real? That's nuts. Oh my, Mr. Food Stamp, where are you, sir? You know, I always assume Food Stamp's a guy. I could be wrong. I've just never asked. I don't think Food Stamp's a girl, but what's the state of Bill? You know damn well what the state of me is. Red Pill. Red Pill. Food Stamp. Yes. That said a lot without saying. That said a lot. It's okay. Truth has no breathalyzer. Truth has no breathalyzer. And we fixing to get in the truth. It's great of you to show a food stamp. Nice to see you. All right. Uh-oh. You guys are talking in the chat, so I'm not quite ready. So that's all right. So where do we start when we start talking about what was on live television tonight with the State of the Union? Let me start by saying it was incredible. And I know I didn't say it long ago, but let me reiterate. It may have been one of the greatest speeches delivered if you're trying to send your enemy a message. For sure. And judging by some of the comments, I see that you guys watched it also. Pelosi pissed. Food stamp says, LOL. Oh, yes. This woman was angry. All right. So first off, let's just do a little bit of a recap, I guess. And let's talk about, for a second, so they wrapped up the final arguments between yesterday and today. Senators had a 10-minute block if they chose to use it all. Whoever wanted to, that was within the Senate, I could come out and explain why or why not they were going to vote the way they were going to vote. Anyway, so what we do know is that the Republicans will probably have the majority in this come tomorrow at 4 p.m., I think it is. I misspoke the other night, too, when I said that the Iowa caucus was on Tuesday. It was actually not. It was on Monday. So I did catch that. But so your comment just caught my attention, Jess. Yes, I'll cover that. Definitely. She was an embarrassment. She was an absolute embarrassment again. If you remember last year, same time of year, on the State of the Union, she did the same BS. Like all this weirdness, like holding stuff up and just, but it was way more ineffective this year. Oh, the difference a year can make. The last State of the Union was February, or it was late January, I don't know, of last year. Keep in mind, that was 1 month after the House won the majority within, well, Democrats won the majority within the House. She had aspirations. The Mueller report was not yet finished. She figured they were going to have an opportunity to create articles of impeachment at some point in time off the Mueller report. It didn't happen. They struggled. They panicked. They had to come up with something to try to reignite impeachment. I give you Ukraine. They had to do this. They lost on the Mueller report. That is why they rushed through and pushed through the articles of impeachment when they did. That's why it went as fast as anything you can ever imagine. They pushed them through the House. They ran them. Well, they didn't run them to the Senate. They waited. They had to actually, I think the reason that she actually waited to deliver those articles was because they needed to actually let time go by for damage control to see they were taking the temperature on people watching what we were witnessing within the house. They had to wait to see what kind of damage control they needed. Well, the truth is that many of us are completely awake and we just stepped back and said, what is she doing? What is she doing? And then we didn't proceed to jump in and care. And I think that's okay. We let it play out. It kind of exposed itself. I mean, they got the wrong reaction from holding the articles. They got the wrong reaction they were looking for, which is no big surprise to anybody trusting the plan. Nobody. But she held them. And I think it was to let everything go in and through the holidays, to take the focus off the impeachment, which, all right, that's not revolutionary. We can all concede that. But the reason they did it before the holidays was to cover up all the malfeasance that was displayed in the process of impeaching the president. And they put 33 days in between the time that they had to rush it through. And remember, she signed her name with a different pen for each letter of her name. I mean, everything that they've done as far as optics are concerned, with her signing with all those pens and handing them out to all her people and all of this, those optics are bad. They're real bad. And those of us that are awake and we know what's going on, we see that and go, it's like a gift. It's like you do something like that. You sign your name with a different pen, you hand them out as souvenirs, and then you go on Bill Maher and he comes up to fist bump you and all that, and you fist bump him back. The laughing right as they announced the articles of impeachment, or the impeachment passing before she banged the gavel. I mean, do you remember that? She put the finger up. She put the mom finger up. That was all meant to let you forget about that. And let's go back to talking about what a bad man Trump is. Let's talk about what he's done bad for our country. 33 days later, they delivered the articles of impeachment. They think they're going to hold ransom Mitch McConnell, Republican leader of the House, Senate Majority Leader. This man was made for this moment. I'll tell you what, they made Mitch McConnell and they broke the mold. This man is like cast iron. Once they broke him out the cast, they busted that shit up. They didn't make another one like Mitch. Mitch would not be handled. Mitch would not be handled. He knows law. He knows. He was the astringent for the Democrat play on words and perception they tried to deliver to the Senate. Mitch put that shit out quick and stood by it. And with good arguments coming all the while that this ran through the House. Don't forget the heroes like Doug Collins, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, John Radcliffe, Elise from New York. Oh, she was such a warrior. But starts with an S. I don't know why I'm brain farting on it, but phenomenal people. Who is that congresswoman from New York? Elise. Starts with an S. Can't think of it. Yeah. Yeah, food stamp. Elise Superwoman. I think that was her name. Oh, I don't know why food stamp kills me. I don't know why. I'll stay on all night if I have to figure out what Elisa's last name is. But she was just a monster in the house. She was fantastic. Headless says, when you're 92 years old, when your 92-year-old grandmother says that bitch is on drugs and they need to quit putting her in office, you can't help but laugh. And you yeah, that bitch is on drugs. Yeah, I think so. Your woman's name. Oh my god. Oh my god, Alexa just did you hear that? Alexa just answered me. That was weird. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, Joan. Oh, Joan, you silly. Nice to see you, by the way. Thanks for coming. I agree with that, Mel Monty. Mel Monty says Joan Pelosi doesn't need to respect Trump, but she needs to have enough respect for herself to behave in a manner more appropriate for the circumstance. And I would submit that she should have learned this from her reaction of the State of the Union last year. But you know what? I'm okay with her reaction. You know why? Because it sheds anybody's misconception that there is not total panic going on in DC. 100% pure proof panic in DC. She was embarrassing to watch. It was a little funny last year, like meh, meh, meh. This year, it was sad, but not sad like I'm sad. The Democrat Party is pretty much done, Joan. They're pretty much exposed 100%. And for people that don't see it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that people don't see it. I'm sorry that it's going to take a lot for people to wake up. I get it. All right. I need one of my wrenches to get rid of that wenches because that's a troll. Joan, you can stay if you act nice. Okay. There you go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the ability to listen to Joan, but anyway, moving forward, how about that State of the Union? All right. So starting off, what happened? nobody really knew what to expect. They were talking about what the Democrats were going to wear. I thought that they might wear pink pea hats, all of them show up in those pink hats. And that wouldn't have surprised me, not even a bit, not even a little bit, had they all been wearing them. But they weren't. They went back with the Tulsi Gabbard white collection pantsuit. This year, we'll be offering the Tulsi Gabbard pantsuit, available in white only. She'll be wearing it on every interview for the next year and a half. They all wore white. I guess they were trying to show that they were together. Something interesting that I noticed, and I know some of you probably did, but I noticed in a purple dress was Christine Sinema, or what's her name? Her last name's Sinema. She's a senator from what? Arizona? I know McSally is, but Sinema too. And then next to her was Gillibrand. I'm just trying to get some ranch, Gillibrand. And frequently they stood up and they clapped. At times when all of the white shirts behind them didn't do nothing. Pelosi didn't look at the president at all. During the entire time that he spoke, she was staring off to the right. She was looking at somebody, I would submit it's her handler in some way, shape, or form, to give her direction on what to do. That's why she frequently shuffled her papers like, I don't have this. I think Trump handed her his speech, and he gave a speech that was 100% different from the speech he gave her. I think that's honestly why she tore it up at the end. Because they had played off her antics from last year. And they said, all right, you just don't deserve it. You're here, get this. Here's the speech. But you never know Trump. He's bound to go off script. And according to her notes and her speech, he went way off script probably the entire time. I honestly think that's why she probably ripped him up, if I'm just being truthful. I don't think this was a big defiant moment like what do I want to say? I don't want to make it bigger than what it was. I think, and did you guys see that she pulled out a little piece of paper after she opened it and read it? I think it said something like, fuck you, Nancy. And I won't swear again in this stream, but she decidedly had a different way about her after she opened up her notes. And though she didn't do the seal clap, she didn't do that this year. What can I say? Their days are numbered. And I think if it wasn't clear before today, it's very clear now. Hey, Rena. Yes, I missed you the last few nights. I'm sorry. I had a family emergency. Nice to see you, though, Rena. Thank you for coming to my house. It might have, food stamp. It might have. It might have. But it was incredible. If I'm going back to the nuts and bolts of the speech itself. Thank you, Rena. I appreciate you. Thank you. So if I'm looking at the nuts and bolts of the speech, I think there were some real shots across the bow that were done by Trump and the Republicans. And I think they knew when, first of all, they were going to cheer on everything because, you know what? The people that had any kind of blackmail against them were released by the president. So the Republicans, at least 98% of them that are on board for Trump are on board because they have been relieved of their puppet masters, their handlers. They've been relieved of it. And some of them were in a little deep and some of them weren't in so deep. But they were told that moving forward, you're either going to fight for your freedom or you are going to go down with whatever handler has you. They're part of the deep state. I think that was honestly put out in front a number of people. And if you remember 2 years ago, for the State of the Union, I think it was the State of the Union, but Trump had come out and the Republicans went crazy happy. They recited the Pledge of Allegiance, and it like relieved them of their obligation to their handlers. And that's when you started seeing people evolve from the Republican Party. That's when you started seeing and hearing the voices of Devin Nunes, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan. Not because I think any of these guys did anything that was wrong, but I think that the forgiveness that was given to the rest of the body allowed them to come forward with what they knew to be true. And it allowed those that were forgiven to rally. See, when you're dealing with all the swamp, and it's all swamp everywhere, and you have a very small amount of people that maybe haven't been corrupted, or maybe some of them have been a little bit, but not to the point where you go, they're responsible for this. And you say, listen, I see your good characteristics. I see the goodness in you. I see the things. And I understand that you've been going along to get along and pushing, different bills and that kind of stuff to go through. But I want to let you know, that's not how it's going to be going forward. And if you value anything that has to do with freedom, and you truly believe what you used to say, you'll come on board and you'll support the president. And I think you saw a very talented group evolve from having that gigantic weight lifted off their shoulders. And you actually got to see talent evolve out of the Republican Party. And you finally saw emotion, and you finally saw talent. Something that had always been missing was the human element of the Republican Party. Their morals are fine. We know now in hindsight that double talk is very common within Washington. But once they were relieved of what feared them the most is when they came alive. And this batch of people are alive. And I'm not saying that it can't be Democrats too. There may be some Democrats that surface out of all of this debacle of poo that prove themselves worthy in some way, shape, or form. There might be. We'll see. Tomorrow's vote will tell us a lot. Not because I think the president will be impeached. I absolutely don't. But it's going to tell us in the Democrat Party, like, there's some givens. Like if Romney votes in favor of the Republicans, which, I mean, he kind of has to, right? If he doesn't, he's done. I think if he does, he's done. I think he's drew his line in the sand. I think the Democrats have made their plays. Do I think they'll stop? No, they're not going to stop. They can't. They are truly against a clock and a calendar. Their days are numbered. Their majority within the House is over come November. And not only are they not going to have a majority in the Senate come November, they're going to lose enough seats that the Republicans have a super majority. Which means what? If Republicans have the House and a super majority in the Senate, guess what? All of this goes away. All this red tape on everything goes away. And the corruption that was embedded within our government goes away. It's very important that you vote for Trump and those within the House and the Senate that are representing the Republican Party. because this is our one chance in our lifetimes where all the stars are aligning, where it's all synced up to just be a beautiful transformation into getting away from corruption and evil. For people to not step outside of themselves, that's what I'll never understand, is people can't step out of their own belief system to say, you know what, I will look at this in the shoes of another man or person or woman, but I will look at this from the other side. And if you do that and you let evidence and proof and testimony, and you're willing to listen to it, you can come to a very good conclusion that everything that we see, witness, and hear, and have been for the last 2.5 years, is 100% fact. For you to be asleep at this point in time moving forward in your life is a choice. It's 100% a choice. And I can't make an excuse for you. Well, I was just raised that way. I'm just set in my ways. I don't care. I've just told you. I've just told you what my belief of the truth is. Now, if you want to debate it, go prove me wrong. Or prove me right. Or do something. But don't just sit there and go, I just believe this because that's just how it is. And that's, those people, blah, 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 blah. Yes, that is true a lot of the times. But nobody is dropping these ballistic bombs of truth on your head your whole life. When people tell you this kind of stuff that's going on, you have a certain obligation and responsibility to go, wait a minute, why would people be saying this? But to just deny it and just go on with life, I mean, you're an ignorant fool. Ignorant fool. Which leads me to what I want to say next. Is when Trump gets reelected in November, what message will we have to say to those never Trumpers? Because as I see it, not only is he poised to re-win his election, but he's poised to win it in the majority. So what does that mean? That this minority of Antifa thugs and the minority of the people that are gender biased and want to hold everybody to accountability in court, listen, they're in the minority and their days are numbered. Nobody's telling you not to be that way. Nobody's saying that you can't be that way. But for you to stand on your soapbox and scream at people and assault people and tell them that they have no business telling you how to live. Nobody's trying to tell you how to live. You are the ones that are disagreeing with the majority of society. One of us has a problem. I think you should dig deeper. I mean, it's brainwashing. I was going to say, how do you not understand that about yourself? If I'd like to think that people that are true hardcore Democrats and leftists are willing to do a little bit of research and think things through. But at this point, it tells me that you're straight brainwashed. There is no research for you. There is no research. You are nothing but a Reddit board and 1,000 different opinions that all tell you how Trump is the devil. And you don't look at anything else. You don't look at any other side. Ever. You won't look at facts. You won't look at what's being presented as the gospel truth. All these things that have been launched and sent against Trump, honestly, on their face, are bullshit. And they weren't when they were released and when the investigations were launched. They weren't bullshit. Nobody knew. But now, 2020, in hindsight, Mueller report out, IG report out, no less than 17 direct lies that continued the investigation under Trump which led to the Mueller investigation. If you deny that stuff, fuck off. Seriously. Why am I arguing with you? Why am I even trying to get the point across to you if you deny that stuff? You wouldn't have a conversation, accept the facts, and then move forward. Let's talk about it. But if you don't at this point, you're nothing but a deep state shill or an asshole. I'll leave that up to you. Nobody's here to fight. Nobody's here for that. We want peace. We want Republicans and Democrats to blend, to get along. Do you know so many Obama voters moved over and voted for Trump once he started speaking the truth? And at that point, there was nothing who was already shady, Clinton, already shady past. There was no recovery for her. And once the Democrat Party screwed over Bernie, Trump picked up all those voters too. Because they said, you know what, if you're going to screw over Bernie, we're not putting your puppet into office. We'll just vote for Trump out of spite. Well, guess what? Round 2, circa 2020, they're going to screw Bernie out of running against Trump. What do you think the debacle in Iowa was? The debacle in Iowa. This was the first caucus election in the first state that's supposed to launch all this stuff. And I believe personally that the votes were going so strong in the favor of Bernie Sanders that they had to break the system. So just wait a minute. Let it all catch up. And they put Buttigieg up there. They put Buttigieg up there as the top vote getter. They put Bernie right behind him. You're like 25% and 24.8% or something like that. Those two. Biden dropped down to 15.8%. His days are over. His election is done. If there's anything that you realize tonight, beyond the State of the Union, realize that Biden's campaign is finished and that the investigations are not over into Burisma and into his son and into everything going there. It's the linchpin. Ping! Pull the linchpin out. Ping! And it all comes tumbling down. And that's, not being a dick. That's just what's coming. That's what's happening. That's what's coming. Definitely. So it was a fantastic State of the Union. You know what I love most about it, I think, more than anything, is that I think the State of the Union this year was written in a way that the Democrats were really hamstrung on how to react on a lot of this. Like, it wasn't in their manifesto of like, yes, we cheer here, we sit down here. I mean, they were standing up like 2 or 3 times and cheered for a couple things that had to do with our troops. They sat down, didn't clap, didn't do nothing for this girl that got school choice, didn't do nothing for so many different things of the special guests that Trump had brought along that are true patriots, people, real stories of people that have suffered and lost. They had one family whose daughter got murdered at 26 years old in a sanctuary city. And the guy had been arrested like 6 times. And then was released again in the sanctuary city. And then she was murdered. She was killed. These sanctuary cities do not work within our law enforcement of ICE. ICE has requested numerous times that when you get one of these sons of bitches, you need to release them and turn them over to us. Not because it's a federal law, not because they have to, it's because it's the fucking right thing to do. They turn them over to ICE. These people have been caught. We're talking murder. We're talking drunk driving, hurting people, rape and murder. Release them back into society. You know, I've never felt the need to tear up ever in my life watching the State of the Union. When I watched that couple that held up the picture of their daughter after this person, the illegal alien, had been caught and arrested 6 different times for some really bad shit and then was released again. And then, you know, I think they cleaned up what happened to her, but essentially she was murdered. Boy, that hit me. That hit me pretty good. That hit me awfully hard. I think that his entire speech was geared around exposing these ridiculous types of laws that are just created out of thin air, like sanctuary cities and all this. Probably actually, honestly, started off with the best of intentions. When they came up with the idea of a sanctuary city, it probably was decent intentions until about 4 days after they declared a sanctuary city. From there, it's damage control ever since. Ever since, damage control. I thought he made many powerful statements within the State of the Union tonight. I think he delivered on a presidential level where people on all sides could say, you know what, he's pretty damn presidential. You heard the left rattling, booing, hissing, making noise. To one point, Nancy Pelosi put her finger up and was like somebody must have said something. I don't know what they said, but you could hear somebody said something loud from the back. And even she knew in her drunken stupor that we can't have that. That we can't have. And she put her Skeletor finger in the air like to shush him. But it's those types of things that have happened throughout this entire presidency. But really look at it in the last 6 months, or just all these things. Like, you just look at the Democrats, you listen to them, you listen to Schiff, you listen to Nadler, you listen to Schumer and Pelosi, and you see the signature of the pens with 1 letter per pen, hand them all out. You hear the opposite talk from Schumer from 98 or whatever it was when Clinton was. I mean, he's arguing against the very arguments that he made before. Same with Nadler, arguing against things, and really Zoe Lundgren, whatever, they're all arguing against the same points they made that showed that it was unconstitutional to come at the president with some of the things that they came at him with. So listen, I hate to beat a dead horse. The Democrats were allowed to win the House of Representatives in the midterm elections for this very scenario that we are watching play out right now. If you don't understand that, I'm sorry. They were allowed to win the House because they needed them to go after Trump. We can't wake everybody up unless there's something to show them what to be awake to. And it's the bullshit that America has been put through all of Trump's presidency, but mainly highlighted, the star of the show here is the impeachment trial. And there's so much to learn from just listening to it all. There's so much to learn by understanding how the subpoenas were actually served and how they went about it and side-skirted the House judicial system. I mean, these subpoenas were not valid. Now, they'll argue them until they die that they were valid, but they're not. Because if they weren't, the president would be in trouble. The problem I have is that why aren't they in trouble? Because there can only be one right side on either side of the argument. Either you're telling the truth or Trump's telling the truth. All of the evidence leads to the Trump's telling the truth. And not only that, it's not that he's trying to tell the truth to like clear himself. It's that you Democrats have effed this up so badly that everything that you put out there, and when you back it against your behavior over the last 3 years, and you back it against the party of the last 3 years, and you guys have been talking about impeachment 19 minutes after he was sworn in, swear to God, article released, the trial to impeach Trump begins. 12/19 on the day he was inaugurated. It's all bullshit, man. And it's all being exposed. What an incredible speech. He handled it like a boss. Throughout all the hisses, all the jeers, all the anything. He didn't make it at all personal against any one of them. He stayed on point. Listen, that man, if Trump's getting graded, he gets a 4.0. He gets an A+. He didn't let it get under his skin even that much. He stayed on point. He stayed on his accomplishments. And he did he did bring up the prior administration a few times, and that caused some jeers, but it's okay because he was differentiating between the last administration, who did horribly on certain things, to where his administration is doing great. Did he say Obama's a shit? No. Did he say his whole presidency was shit? No. He was just simply differentiating like portions within the presidency of different topics, different laws and that kind of stuff that he passed that made it surpassed it by that much. He honestly was just, he was fantastic tonight. I honestly believe that, and maybe he's got one or two more in him in his lifetime, but I don't know that he could honestly have a better temperament or have a better speech than what he put out there tonight. Almost to the point where he got, I think the Democrats almost waved the white flag from their little antics and her flipping the card and stuff until she decided to rip up the speech. I think he had almost subdued the Democrats in a large majority. Some of them even got up and started to clap on some things. They probably broke out of their spell and said, what are we not clapping for him over this over? Because he didn't put all his highlights, but everything he put up there were just home runs. Every story, everything that he highlighted, which was all true. It was all true, 100% true. My entire State of the Union is always true. However, Nancy, you're fake news, and don't rip up I said don't rip up my speech. She ripped up my speech, folks. What does that tell you? She ripped my speech up in prime time. What's that tell you? I think we know what it tells you. And I think it's what we've all expected and known for quite some time. I'm very excited for our future. I'm extremely excited for the next few months. I'm excited and not worried for tomorrow when they vote on the impeachment of the president. Will they throw something at him next? Man, they sure can, I guess. They can try. But I think they really don't have a lick of credibility left in them, the Democrat Party. None. I mean, they hold the majority in the House. They can certainly try to shove through another impeachment article. But I think at that point, listen, this one was shoved through after Mueller took a big fart. And people were like, okay, well, let's listen to what we have. Nobody's listening anymore. Nobody's listening to what the Democrats have to say anymore. Nobody. Except for me and other government nerds that like to listen to this stuff. But nobody's listening. Everybody's living their lives. So anything new they come out with, it's going to be over. That would be beautiful, Linda. She said tomorrow president's going to rip up her articles of impeachment. How cool would that be? That would be so sweet. And I'm sorry I'm missing your comments, but you guys know how that goes with me. But I did happen to catch that one, Linda. That's funny. That would be funny. All right, so what's up? 2 a.m. I should probably wrap it up. Thank you. You guys spent almost an hour with me. Of your 24 hours in every day, you just spent 58 minutes with me. And I'm humbled that you did. But hopefully, guys, we got our minds going the right way. We understand what's going on. We understand the Great Awakening. We understand what we're witnessing when we watch something like the State of the Union tonight. When we watch the reactions out of Nancy Pelosi, when we hear the hisses and the jeers and the sneers out of the left, when we watch them sit on their hands while people are clapping for our veterans, for our incredible, wonderful stories of people that persevered through the hardest of times, to watch them sit on their hands and be completely anti-American was probably the greatest gift Trump could have got tonight. Tomorrow, our president gets acquitted. And as much as Pelosi wants to say he's impeached for life, he's acquitted for life. You better believe that's coming tomorrow. Now, I will reiterate one thing Trump said, because it's been a main thing that's been being said over the course of the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and is now becoming said with more regularity. And that is the very important message that Trump gives, that the best is yet to come. We've done this, that. We've taken this here. We put this there. This is at a record. This is at a record. The employment is at a record. All the manufacturing is at a record. We are bringing this, this, and this. We are energy, fuel, independent as a country. We no longer have to rely anymore on Middle East oil. And on top of that, the best is yet to come. My God, the state of our union, guys, is strong. It's strong. You guys have a good night. I love you. God bless you. Don't forget to pray. Pray for the president. Pray for me too. I need that stuff. Just saying. And you all need it too. I do pray for you guys. Anyway, thanks for coming to my stream. I'll see you soon. Don't know for sure. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow night after the impeachment vote. But whether I do or I don't, pay attention to it, because once that goes through, that he's been acquitted. I think all of our focus on the reelection of President Trump. And not only should we focus on getting him reelected, but we should focus on winning back the House, which launched this ridiculous impeachment to begin with. So we get back the majority in the House. And not only do we retain the Senate, but we put enough senators in there that we give him a super majority within the Senate, which means it clears up a lot of red tape. And I don't know the exact number, but I think it's like something like if we can give the president like 50, 60, I don't know. What do we need to pick up? Like 13, 15 more seats and we have a super majority. It cuts through a lot of red tape. They just start acting on the will of the people that put them in there. And that's how important November is moving forward this year. It doesn't mean that the Democrats aren't going to try to throw more stuff at the president. They will. They're fighting for their lives. If you can imagine that, imagine not physically fighting for your life, but imagine that you have to do everything within your brain power with other people to try to brain power to get somebody out of office because they have all the secrets, they have all the documents, they have all the emails, they have all the text messages and all the phone calls. And if you don't get this guy either killed or impeached, you're done. So these people aren't going to stop. But that's why it's called the Great Awakening. Because the more they start to throw at him moving forward after tomorrow, the more evident and the more steam it will lose supporting any Democrat. And you know who the happiest person in the State of the Union was tonight? It was Kamala Harris, because she listened to Trump speak tonight and she thought, damn, I'm glad I don't have to debate this cat because this guy makes a lot of good points. He's going to beat that liberal ass when it's done. Sounds also, just as a side note, like Mayor Pete, that part of this whole debacle within the elections, the votes within Iowa. I mean, he just miraculously comes out of the blue and takes the majority. He's the deep state puppet, make no mistake. Buttigieg is the deep state puppet, and he is the one that they're going to try to put in front of Trump, simply because he's the best, well-spoken, moderate person. And they can't have Bernie. Democrats don't like Bernie. They like Bernie that much more than they like Trump, because Bernie is not the direction that the Democrats want to go in either. Honestly, moderate Democrats do not want a socialist platform. They know that'd be the death of us. It'd be the death of the United States, the death of us. Not today, not tomorrow, not in 5 years, but within 10 years, done. Done. Garbage can diving for food and eating, done. But they don't care. They do not care at all about any of you. They just don't. Trump does. And that's why he's not letting him get away with it. Don't you let him get away with it either. All right. I'm out of gas. I love you all. Have a good night. God bless you. Bye.